Hey folks, welcome. Hey folks, welcome to CodeStories. My name is Nathaniel. I'm an iOS developer from Berlin, Germany. This is going to be another podcast episode, and the name of my guest is Saad. Saad is a people manager, aka engineer manager. What exactly is a people manager? Saad is going to let us know in a few minutes. Saad has also worked as an Agile Coach and as a QA engineer in the past. Why he transitioned, which challenges he was facing when he transitioned, and who are these positions for or these professions for, find out in a few minutes. There's one more thing. There are a lot of people who think that folks who work in tech are unathletic. At the end of this video, Saad is going to prove you wrong. Hey Saad, welcome to the show. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Nathaniel.
Nice.
Thanks for inviting me.
Nice. Thank you that you're here. And so actually we know each other for how long now?
3 years, 2 years?
Yeah. So Saad and I, we worked together in the past before, but unfortunately we had to go a different path. But really happy that you're here and we can have a conversation and share some of your experiences and your story.
Thank you.
All right. So you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. First thing first, I would like to mention that we worked together and we ran together as well in the previous company. So we used to have this running group. It was really nice. I missed that afterwards, by the way, Nathaniel. First, thanks for inviting me here. I'm really happy to share my knowledge. I'm also passionate like you in sharing the knowledge, and it's something which you can give back to the community. I'm Saad Jan. I'm working as an engineering manager at Flixbus. In general, the engineering manager name is kind of pretty technical, people thingy kind of mixy. I can make it easier for you. At Flixbus, we take customer value at heart, whatever we do. And as an engineering manager, we make sure that we can deliver customer value in an effective and efficient way, or let's say in a most resourceful way. And that's what I do. I have a family. I do have 2 kids. And I enjoy living in Berlin.
Nice, great. So you've switched career for the 3rd time now, right? So where did all this began? So how did you start in the IT sector?
Very good question. So before going into this discussion, I think it makes sense I can give you my kind of educational background.
Nice.
I came from engineering background. I did bachelor's in engineering. Then later I came to Germany for my pursuing my master degree. I have done MBA on the top of that. So I was kind of into these 2 worlds from the beginning. So it's not that I only switched between the careers, it's also I switched between the educational fields as well.
Okay.
And then it's continued. First time when I jumped into this kind of career change mode, it was not planned. It kind of started in a way. My initial job was starting as a software tester, quality assurance engineer. I did this for a while. And at that time, I was writing my master thesis, which was about agile methodologies and the impact of agile methodologies for startups. I was doing my job pretty good at that time. I was satisfied with that. But at certain point, I realized that, okay, I don't really want to develop a career in quality assurance engineering or in software testing. I felt like I'm more connected to the output and not to the outcome, or let's say outcome was not that visible. I was not able to clearly articulate the impact which I was producing. And that was the first time when I started thinking about other roles, other careers. And since I was doing this research on the agile methodologies, I stumbled upon the term Scrum Master. That's where all that started.
Okay, cool.
I started reading about it. I kind of informed myself and okay, this is something maybe I wanted to do.
So it's like you also like a self-taught route, right? You actually taught yourself how to become a Scrum Master, right? And so it was it like love on the first sight? You saw it and like, yes, this is what I want to do, or was it like someone introduced you to Agile Coach, Agile Scrum Master, and you then took off from there and start learning more about it?
It's been a very interesting journey. I think I'm naturally a people person. I already had that native wiring somewhere in my head, but when I saw that role, it was pretty easy for me to resonate the values which the role bring into the organization to the values which I intrinsically own in my body, in my head, let's say.
Okay.
So it was very easy for me to resonate with the value system of the Scrum Master role. Then I deep dive into that role. I tried to understand how this role can bring and add value to the organization, and that's where from where it started. And then moving on toward the Agile Coach, toward engineering manager. Then one was the stepping stone for the other one.
All right.
So I don't see a drastic change, a significant change in the role itself, but yeah, one way or another, they are same, but they are different in terms of expectations which people have towards different roles.
Oh, cool. And so now you're working as an engineer, as an engineering manager, right? So what's actually the difference between engineering manager and Agile Coach, Scrum Master?
Very good question. So a lot of people used to ask me the same question in the past as well. The thing is, when you are working as an Agile Coach, depending on how organization sees it, so Agile Coach might means different in different organization, depending on how the organization is kind of operating and how mature they are in the terms of their business agility. From where I see the difference there is more like, as an Agile Coach, you work in the system. You're working really closely with the teams on that nitty-gritty details, helping them tap into their motivation, how we can be improving our ways of working, how we can add more value, how we can improve collaboration, transparency, stuff like this. All this you can do as an engineering manager as well, but you are working now more on the system rather than working in the system. So you have more like a kind of bird's eye view.
Okay.
So just make sure that the functions in the system works together and they go hands in hand.
All right.
Theoretically, you can say it's the same role, but just from a higher level, more on a meta level. You are working on the system now before you are working into the system. Okay. So that's how I differentiate between these two roles.
Okay. Do you think that for someone to become an Agile Coach or someone to become an engineering manager, what kind of person do you have to be? Or let's say, do you need a technical background? Do you need to be have a computer science degree? Do you have to have an educational background for you to strive in that environment?
It's a kind of mix. It's kind of combination. So if I see myself, I came from technical background, and sometimes it does help me when I am in discussion with the teams, when I am in discussion with the stakeholders to understand some of the technical context of the work. But the bigger part of this job, whether you are an engineering manager or you are an Agile Coach or Scrum Master, you need to be comfortable with the people. You need to, because a big chunk of your time would be talking to people, communicating something to people, sitting with them and deciding on something, buying in, convincing them, articulating your own viewpoint. So it's all about people. If you are Agile Coach, you are heavily invested into one-on-one coaching, which is all about having trusted relationship with your coachee, helping and taking the best out of the individuals and bringing them to that level. Same you do as an engineering manager as well, but you just do it at a scale.
So that means if you are a people's person, you actually have a really good, let's say, chance to become an Agile Coach, right?
Exactly. And if you're a people person and you value intrinsically, and you see intrinsic value in the people, that they can bring value to the organization. So if you take good care of the people, as they say, people will take care of your organization.
All right.
And
nice.
That's how from where I see.
Well said. Thank you. And is there something that you miss in when you were working as an Agile Coach that you're like, I miss this part, I would like to have it in engineering manager? Or is it like, okay, good at I no longer do this, I'm just happy with everything I have in the engineering manager position?
So in engineering manager position, you still need to have this one-on-one sessions with your teammates, with your individual peers, in order to understand what's going on and how you can help them. Because a lot of conversations which are happening during the one-on-one sessions with the teammates, they bring the topics which they are not just comfortable in bringing in open groups. So you still need to have that competency and a skill to trigger the one-on-one coaching and to drive those sessions. The only difference here is, as an agile coach, usually you drive the things from the neutral background and you keep yourself out of the equation. As an engineering manager, your people, those who will be talking with you, they will be your direct reports. So sometimes it's really hard to drive the discussion from a neutral background because the people whom you are coaching, they might not see you neutral. That's where the trust comes and plays its role there. So in order to have valuable discussions, you need to have a certain level of trust between the coachee and the coach. That's the difference. That's one difference which I felt.
All right, cool. And you're now working for Flixbus? Flixbus? How do you pronounce it?
Flixbus.
Flixbus. Okay,
Yeah.
Flixbus. And I think you're happy there. And how is the culture? Is it like the kind of people you can hang around with? The kind of people you can actually apply this agile tools and because like you already mentioned, there are some company, their values doesn't fit this agile. And if you are in a company where you have your ideas, you have your values, and you are an engineering manager or agile coach, and you're trying to bring in some of these values, and there's a clash between from both sides. How is it in Flixbus? Do you think that you're in a place where people appreciate what you're bringing in and bring the values you're bringing in and the things you're bringing in?
I really appreciate the values which we have at Flixbus. So usually when you see the values, what are values? So values are the set of values which people protect in the organization, and that kind of further gives birth to a culture of the organization. On its very core, there are always values. So whenever you join a company, whenever you gonna work in the organization, you need to see whether you can resonate with the value system of the organization. I feel myself really fortunate that I ended up working at Flixbus because I was able to really resonate my value system with the value system of the organization. Just to give you an example, we have now 4 values. We call it Flix 4. It's our culture. So the first one is we build for generations. It's something giving back to the whole community, like green buses. You build for generation, you think for the long term rather than short term approach. Then we have a second value which we call it we push boundaries, and that's more on the company level, where you are challenging the status quo. You are challenging the existing tools and skills which you have, and then you are, in order to move to the next level, you really push yourself. Then we have the value of on team level, that we win together. We work together collaboratively. We celebrate together. Kind of gives you a feeling that we are all in this together, which kind of contradictory to the silo working. And then we have an individual value which we say, I make an impact. Like, I personally do my work with the technology. I leverage technology to add value, and I take pride of it. So these kind of 4 values kind of made a clear statement what the organization expect from you.
All right, great. That's amazing. That's amazing. So in Flixbus, are you guys hiring right now?
I think we are not aggressively approaching this topic right now. Okay. Although there are a couple of postings right now on the LinkedIn as well. If you look for the job,
all right.
But we are now very much conservative in terms of hiring at this moment because we need to understand how the situation develops.
Yeah.
And hiring for certain roles still makes sense because we did the reprioritization of our projects which were ongoing, how we are going to approach certain projects in the future. That's actually changed because of this pandemic hit. So we are still hiring, I would say not aggressively, more conservatively, but we are still approaching that topic and hiring is there. So you just need to make sure that you go for the right job.
All right. So the job openings can be found on your website, Flixbus website, and on LinkedIn page. All right. Nice. So for those of you who are listening, if you're interested working for Flixbus, don't forget to reach out maybe to you.
Just for sure. Yeah.
You can reach out to Saad, and you can do some refer someone to Flixbus. Nice.
Would be happy.
Nice. And so actually we're almost done. the last thing we can like talk about is so what would you like to, for those who are listening, maybe someone might be interested in switching career into QA engineer or agile coach or and what would you like to give to this person, someone who's like, hey, I think this is something for me. I'm a people's person, but I don't have the technical background, but I want to become an engineer manager. And Saad, what do I need to do?
That's an interesting question. So I would say first thing which you need to understand that why you are going to have this transition. So you need to have a really clear goal in your mind, because without stating the why, you might be wandering around somewhere in the middle. You might not be understanding that why you even made your change. So whenever you go for a change, you need to understand and you need to define the scope of the change. In my case, how I did manage that is, I would say, 3 transitions. I kind of, before every transition took place, I kind of made sure that what I would like to achieve from that transition. Because the hardest part of the transition is when you do the transition and you move from role A to role B, you need to understand and accept that you are not right now not doing the role A. For instance, when I moved from QA engineer to a Scrum Master, when I was in a QA engineer role, I was heavily invested in discussions and I was very opinionated and I always wanted to provide my biased view of QA engineer. But when you are a Scrum Master, you need to drive everything from a neutral background.
So that was like some challenges you had. Like, okay.
Exactly. And that you will face in every role. My suggestion would be, if you are going for the transition, you need to make sure that you have a clear goal and agenda in place why you are going to have this transition, what's your end goal, then accepting it that you are not now in the former role and now you will take care of the later one. Otherwise, you will be stepping on somebody else's toes. That's also super important. The third one, find a mentor. Find a mentor, somebody who already did these kind of transitions. That person would help you and kind of shadow you with some of the actions and kind of give you a quick feedback so you can do inspect and adapt over time now to improve.
Great advice. Yeah. Also, in one of my video, I also mentioned finding a mentor, how important it is finding a good mentor can be much difficult than finding a job.
Exactly.
But if you find that mentor, man, things are going to be much easier for you. And the final question is, so you've got kids, right?
I do have.
Yeah. And so if you could decide which journey or which job your kids should take, and if it's like a QA, Agile Coach, engineer manager, which one would you pick for them?
Oh, that's difficult. For my kid, I would say, in general, when you see coaching, I don't differentiate it more than like a parenting. Parenting is a kind of coaching. When you are coaching someone, you are taking care of more of the principles from parenting. So if I would have an opportunity to develop my son in a certain role, I would definitely pick the coaching. Because for coaching, you first need to understand yourself. First, you need to understand your own goal, your own aim, what's in for you. And then you need to focus on your coachee. So I would say I would really be happy if he would understand himself, his own goals, and then investing in others.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you for being part of this. And so I have a pull-up bar here. So you're going to be the first person who's going to do this. And so it's a CodeStories pull-up bar challenge. So Saad's going to be the first person doing this pull-up, and we're going to see how long he's going to hold that record. All right. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.